Thank you again. I don't know if I really emphasize it in my message to you, but you guys have literally changed my life. Like, I never would imagine that I would be doing this kind of work and making that kind of money. Like, signing the contract was crazy. Like, I looked at it, and then I'm like, wow, I'm actually signing a contract for that much. And both of my jobs aren't even touching that amount. So I'm so grateful. So thank you for your community, and I want to give back in any way possible. So
They say they turned down on you, so now you're getting it. The same one.
yep.
Wow, this is freaking crazy. Like, I never heard this before. It happened before. Wow. Because it's a higher level role. You're getting paid damn near double what you're making right now, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be more pressure on you. I mean, I'm not saying you got to just hit the pressure, but you got to adapt to the environment you're in. So what I want you to say is more in the real session, but I kind of want to know how this all happened. Like, after we had our call, did this offer you offer, or what? That's weird. It's crazy how it all happened so quickly.
Essentially what happened was the hiring manager called the consulting company back and said that they had just lost someone and that they were looking to fill that position.
Which company was this? For what position? Is a whole new company?
No. So US Bank, they offered me, but then I had also went to an in-person interview for Tenet, which was a company that I really wanted to work with. And then I turned down the US Bank one thinking that Tenet was going to offer me on Friday. Then they didn't have the budget. So I told the recruiter that, you know, if it does come back in the future.
And it now give you the offer that they say they turned down on you, so now you're getting it. The same one.
Yep.
Wow, this is freaking crazy. Like, I never heard this before. It happened before. Wow. Yeah. Well, you gotta tell everybody in the community internally, because they're gonna want to hear this, because they all know, like, hey, you got turned down, but hey, no, I got it in the end. Holy shit.
I couldn't believe it. Like, my phone was ringing and I saw the number. I was like, there's no way. And she was like, yeah, you know, they're interested. They want to chat with you on Monday. We chatted. Tuesday, I had the offer in writing.
Wait, so in the end, why'd they turn you down? Because they didn't have the budget in the end? That was the main reason? Or they had somebody else that they went with instead?
No, they just didn't have the budget. So I guess when they went to secure the budget, I guess people above the manager just weren't giving the approval. So then what had actually happened is that they had somebody in a junior SOC position, but they just decided to leave abruptly. So
now, knowing all this, now you're probably going to leave your current role and maybe your other secondary role. You right? You're going to leave them both potentially?
Yep. No, I did. I put my 2 weeks in already. I signed the offer, did background checks, everything's clear, laptop's on the way.
Wow, what salary range? I'm curious. 108, you said? Something like that?
Yeah, so 52, but 6 months. So right now I'm on a 6-month contract, and kind of what we discussed, we'll have to see, but
what's the range you said? The paid pay range?
52 an hour. And then from there, we'll decide if we're gonna go FTE or not. So
what's a FTE? Like full time? Okay, so I think they're gonna do a performance as well. That's why they do this, to kind of gauge your experience, your background, your performance, and how you do. And then if you really outperform what their expectations are, then they will give you the full-time offer. Because there's times where, yeah, they just do this to kind of gauge you. And sometimes, sadly, if you don't perform, you're done. So it's kind of got to be out in your performance. You really got to like excel at that position, or at least meet or exceed their expectations to kind of be full-time. Because in the end, it's like I said, it's a contract and it's not guaranteed. But I would hope that, we talk in a few months and, hey, I'm full-time now, like shit. We'd like to kind of stay in the community and just communicate with you every now and then when you get some time, jump on. Like, so you're somebody that I know will give a lot of insight to a lot of people, since everybody's kind of there seeing you. The ones that we're in now, they'll see you before when you came on, and now the progress you made, and now the role that you finally got. Like, it's crazy.
I guess going into the role, I'm just going to be like really, like evaluating myself. So
there's going to be a higher level role. It's going to be more information. You might feel overwhelmed a little bit because you're going to get a lot of things thrown at you very quickly, because it's a higher level role. You're getting paid damn near double what you're making right now, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be more pressure on you. I mean, I'm not saying you got to just hit the pressure, but you got to adapt to the environment you're in. You got to get yourself kind of ready mentally. Ask the questions. If you're stuck somewhere, don't try to figure it out and make more mistakes, because all up on your performance. Like I said, you're going to have more pressure, period, on you. And yeah, ask the questions. do your research. You're very good at doing research, so it's going to be that. You know, they're going to hold your hand for a little while, but in this kind of role, you got to kind of get up there and start doing it yourself. Take the initiative yourself, because this is somewhat of a leadership role, somewhat, I'm assuming, you know? So I know when you first connected with me, what was like your expectation? What's this guy about? Like, what's he reaching out to me for? Like, what was your expectation? Like,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, getting in, you know, I mean, everyone is selling skills, which I totally understand. But, you know, I think where it's not necessarily what you were selling, it's more of a self-belief thing that I had, you know, that I had to get the ability to be able to do it. Like, you know, coming from a different sector, you question whether or not you have the skills, if you could actually get up to a point where you can contribute to an organization. And the one thing that I did get when I got into the group is buy-in. I watched a lot of your motivational videos at the beginning, and you emphasize, you know, it's a mind thing. You have to reframe your mind to believe that, you know, you have these skills, you're using them on a daily, and you have to like identify that, you know, and continue to build on it. When you're stuck, you know, like for me, there would be situations where I was practicing interview questions and I was stuck and I need examples. So what I would do is I would think about, you know, in the experience that I went through at work, I'd use that. I'd ask ChatGPT, like, you know, give me a possibility or an event that it could occur within the business, and, you know, kind of using those skills that I already have, kind of give out my plan of actions, how I would proceed about it, have it critique me, and then, you know, chat with professionals as well to see how they handle things. For me, that was able to like create a high level story. Like, you know, now, like when I think about like an analyst working at a GRC, vulnerability management GRC, ideally you would be dealing with SOC and, you know, providing incident report, and you would help essentially determine what should be prioritized, what shouldn't be prioritized, facilitating communications with IT operations as well. So for me, it was using some of those communication skills that I had, understand the landscape of what it could be, working with different teams, understanding their roles, and then how I would also contribute in the greater plan.
But any other things you got to give really back to anybody else or yourself, and anything else, just high level?
Yeah, I definitely want to give back. You know, it's important. I'm just at the beginning of my journey, but, you know, if I can give any feedback to help someone understand something more, or, you know, I made a map, kind of like scoping the whole environment, you know, what you could possibly be dealing with. You know, so any way I can give back, I definitely want to give back. And I guess the only thing that I would ask for is that, like, you know, I just kind of want a little bit of insight of what I'm stepping into in terms of, like, you know, the corporate world. And, like, you know, on a high level, I understand projects, like I understand the projects that we will have to be doing, but, like, you know, like I just kind, you know, I kind of want
Gonna
to
be a lot of probably meetings as well, a lot of engagements with leadership, cross-functional team members. You're gonna have timelines to meet. It's all about just staying, asking the questions when you're stuck somewhere, because you're not gonna know it all. You're gonna be thrown a lot of information very quickly. That's the biggest thing you're gonna have to be aware of. Be ready for that, because it's gonna come at you quick. It's gonna be a little bit more higher pressure, but just elevate yourself to that pressure and just, you know, take it at your own pace. You know, don't feel like, oh my gosh, I gotta do this all at once now, because it's better for you to take small steps forward and make the progress you want versus trying to do it all at once, make a bunch of mistakes, you know? So take your time, pace yourself, ask the questions if you're stuck, but also do your research as much as you can on things that you don't know, because you're not always gonna be able to have somebody to ask or talk to. You gotta do your own research. It's good, a little bit of both. That's the one thing too, just don't be afraid to ask questions. There was somebody, I don't know if you remember Yudochi, remember her? She kind of came on a little quick and she had about her role. She was kind of asking me too, like, oh my gosh, so much information. Like, how do you, what kind of, cause she was like, went from like making 40K to 130. So tripled her income, like just like that. But it was from an entry level role to a manager role like that. So she really had like a lot thrown at her quickly. So it was like, yeah, she was asking questions, but she's a very smart girl. So she really figured it out pretty quick. Well, she's probably figuring it out now, but she would ask me all kinds of questions like this and that. How do I respond to this kind of an email? You're gonna get a lot of emails thrown at you. There's a lot of little things you're just gonna get aware of and you'll start getting familiar with as you get into it. But really take your time, pace yourself, ask the questions, stay engaged, stay involved, and just take it really at your own pace. Really, that's my biggest advice to you. And it's gonna be different from you, for me, for anybody else. So it's your own, make it your own, pretty much.
What would you say, like, okay, like, would you say like risk management, like doing risk assessment or vulnerability management or just compliance side? Like, I don't know. I guess I really have to get in the role and see, because you say every company's different.
Yeah, don't overthink it. Don't try to do all this, and that. Just understand what they're kind of going to expect out of you, what your role and responsibilities are going to be starting off, because GRC can mean different things for different companies. I'll tell you, I was a GRC analyst for a pen testing company versus a GRC analyst for other company internally. So those are two different roles completely, two different GRC analyst roles. One was more focused on documentation. Other one was focused more on like cross-functional team member collaboration. So it was a little bit different. And now I do kind of audit. So this is still different too. So they're all different roles. So it's just really, you have to just get yourself adjusted to the role and what's expected out of you for that company. And what did you say the company was called again?
Tenet.
Sounds familiar. What do they do? Services?
So they have like those really big cleaning machines that you can push around or drive around.
Oh, is it those big sweeper things that, like on those? Oh, is that what they do? Okay.
Yep. Technically, while I'm on contract, I'm only required 2 days in the office, but I'm gonna push it to 3 because I really I want the full-time role.
Yeah. So push it to be more engaged. As thing, when being in the office more is going to help you too, because you're going to be there with the people you're going to be working with, versus being remote on your own. You're not going to know as much or be as engaged. That's one thing too that I learned. I kind of in a way like the hybrid model a little bit better than I did the remote, because I feel like I was so isolated remote wise. You never meet the people you work with. You see them on a Zoom call, but you never really see them in person, you know? Hopefully one day we can probably meet in person sometime, maybe in the future. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's one of the things too, is you can push for a little bit more, and eventually once you start getting the hang of the role more, maybe you can take a step back a little bit. That's probably what I suggest. But yeah, so you were on site every day now versus now you get right? And your role now?
For me personally, I think I'm gonna spend the first month and a half on site. I'm just gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna, or maybe like the first 4 weeks. I want to secure this. I want to do what I need, like to move to full time. Like, I don't want to go back to, I worked really hard to get here, and I want to put all my effort to, to get the full time role. So
yeah,
I'm all in.
What's up?
Definitely. No, so the other thing was I was looking to Aramba, and I talked to Caesar about this. I wanted to meet with him on Monday, but like a lot of the projects we do, like just to get people like hands-on with the tool, like I was looking at Aramba and how to document policies, how to add contributors to it that need to be revised. And I'm like, we do a lot of things on paperwork, but if people want like, that like, okay, how do I use a tool to, essentially automate this and send it? It's like very easy, and I don't mind like showing people like, hey, this is how you would potentially use a tool. So then in their head, they're like, okay, well, I've done a project and I've also used a tool, like a GRC tool, to, implement it, send it over for revision, I don't know, just an idea.
I mean, that's something great. And we also want to give some, like, also, I don't know if you already met the other Caesar Fari. He's the one that's going to be potentially helping us do all the tools, because he's like a network, PCI, admin, all that. So he has access to all these tools, like Ninja One, vulnerability management tools. So he can kind of like give you guys examples of certain tools you could use or what they're for, that you're going to see versions of in corporate America. Like I said, you're never going to memorize all these tools. There's so many damn tools coming out nowadays. You're never going to learn these tools, all of them at once. As long as you're familiar with what this vulnerability management tool is, Rapid7, Able, Nessus, Qualys, vulnerability management tools. Okay, cool. Well, now another one, firewalls. Okay, cool. There's different types of tool, zero trust, VPN service. Cool. GRC tool, another one. As long as you can understand the high levels of what these are all for, that's what we want to teach people. Hey, don't memorize these tools, know what they do and their functions, so that if you get another one similar to it, you know what it's used for. That's the purpose. That's kind of what we want to teach everybody. Eventually, we're working to scale for that part too. What were you saying?
One last question. So being that you've been in this field for a while, would you say like your first month is more focused on getting you like understand the business? Because
the first month you're not going to do much. You're just going to understand the business, understand everybody, understand roles, responsibilities, try to understand what your responsibility is going to be at, but don't try to, I'm going to start projects now. Like, no, you're going to get on board. The first week, you're probably just going to do full on understand what the company is, what they do, what they're about, what their business models are, who are leadership in this company, and then from there you start just doing the basic trainings. Maybe they might give you some basic trainings on, some basic videos on what tools they use, or get you access to stuff. You're gonna just try to get access the first couple weeks, really, access to everything you need. So the first month, you're gonna jump into business. You're not gonna do much GRC work, to my understanding. You might do a little bit, but don't expect to do a bunch immediately. And then I'd say the first 90 days or so, you're gonna start getting into the actual work. Because the first month and a half, you're gonna just be doing stuff to understand the company, the business, the structures, your responsibilities, the team, all that. That's really what you're gonna do.
I'm gonna definitely use that time to, like, the back end time, definitely, like, prepare myself for that. Because I'm just gonna try to practice with tools. Like, I've been using Nexus vulnerability management with, like, a VM. I created a VM on Azure, so I'm getting a little technical too, just to understand, like, what does vulnerability management look like, where are we scanning, how are we going about prioritizing critical assets, like, on a high level, because I at least want to understand some of the typical terms from day one. I don't want to be there like, okay, I got it. There's nothing wrong with it too, but, like,
yeah, there's some things you're not gonna know even when you first land this role. There's things I didn't know from a lot of my roles when I first started, like, oh, I didn't know this, I didn't know that still, but you're gonna learn it as you do it. And you're gonna get a lot of information thrown at you, period. just prepare for it. Pace yourself. Don't overwhelm yourself, because the mistake you can make is you try to do it all at once, try to learn it all, and you're just gonna overwhelm yourself and burn yourself out. The last thing you want is to burn yourself out. You don't want to do that. So yeah.
Thank you again. I don't know if I really emphasize it in my message to you, but you guys have literally changed my life. Like, I never would imagine that I would be doing this kind of work and making that kind of money. Like, signing the contract was crazy. Like, I looked at it, and then I'm like, wow, I'm actually signing a contract for that much. And both of my jobs aren't even touching that amount. So I'm so grateful. So thank you for your community, and I want to give back in any way possible. So if anything I can do, I want to do it.
Yep, we'll talk about that, and we'll look forward to talking with you again then, and have a good rest of your evening or day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.